Ed Foreman lives the good life that he teaches. Maybe this is part of the reason why. He became a millionaire at age 26. And he was elected to Congress at the age of 28. In fact, Ed is the only person in this century to be elected to the United States Congress from two different states, the great state of Texas and New Mexico. He has enjoyed a very close working relationship with 5 different United States presidents and has served as presidential appointee in 2 national administrations. Ed was born on a farm in New Mexico. He has a civil engineering degree from New Mexico State University. He is an active civic leader who has built a financially successful business career in construction, transportation, and petroleum development. Named one of the 10 outstanding young men in America by the United States JCs in 1964. Ed has been a leader in executive development programs since 1960. As a president of Executive Development Systems of Dallas and a full-time management consultant, he conducts motivational and sales training seminars and regularly addresses convention groups throughout the country. A man of Mr. Enthusiasm style, he is rated America's #1 speaker in the art of successful daily living. He was a big hit at our Conference of Champions, as I said. Please give him a rousing all-state welcome. Ed?
Thank you. Thank you, Don. You done good. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Don. That's a great introduction. I know how some of you are feeling right now. You're thinking, if this guy's been elected to the United States Congress from 2 different states, done all this politicking with 5 different presidents and all this business, I guess we're going to be exposed to a bunch of politics here today, are we? No, I've gone straight and I work for a living now. I want to share some things with you. If you'll listen to them and you'll apply them in your life, better than that, if you'll start to work with them here and now today, I guarantee you, you're going to feel better about yourself and you'll do better in life. As I see this group here and as I see this exciting, enjoyable, enthusiastic participation, I know it's been a great meeting all 4 days or ever how many days you have been here. It's been exciting every day. You got a good attitude. I like the winning attitude that I see through this whole meeting. Everybody's excited, and when you get excited, you get other people excited. You see, it's your attitude, it's how you feel about yourself that helps you to be the winner that you are and to set the example for those that you lead. Whenever I think about this, I'm reminded of a situation that happened to me some time ago. I'd been invited to address the annual Chamber of Commerce meeting in Silver City, New Mexico. It's a copper mining town about 120 miles north of El Paso, up in the mountains there in New Mexico. And I got up there that evening, had about 450, 500 people in the old Murray Hotel up there. Big, long head table, and so they were all in, you know, it's a big festive, it's the big blowout of the season up there in Silver City. And I turned to the fellow sitting next to me and I said, well, tell me, sir, I said, how are things going with you? He said, oh, Mr. Foreman said, ain't you heard about strike? I said, what strike? He said, Phelps Dodge and Kennecott, the 2 big copper companies up there, are both out on strike. And he said, let me tell you something, Mr. Foreman. He said, when those 2 companies go out on strike, he said, business in this community is bad. Now, he said, I happen to be in the real estate business. But he said it wouldn't matter if I was in the insurance business, automobile business, clothing business, grocery business, or anything else. He said, when those 2 companies go out on strike, business in this community is bad. He said, I haven't sold a house in 6 weeks, and I'll tell you something else. If this strike continues for another 4 weeks, I'm going to be on the verge of bankruptcy. I've never seen things so bad before in my life. Well, I'd never heard anybody so enthusiastically negative before in my life. This guy acted like he is weaned on a dill pickle. You know, I think when he got up in the morning, instead of saying, good morning, God, I think he said, good God, it's morning. You know the type I'm talking about. Well, I was sorry. I asked him how he felt. I was supposed to bring these people a message of hope and encouragement and enthusiasm. Well, you can imagine how I felt. In just a little while, he turned and started talking to the fellow on his right, immediately took advantage of the situation, turned and started talking to the little lady on my left, must have been about 45, 50 years old. I said to her, I said, well, ma'am, I said, how are things with you? She said, oh, Mr. Foreman, ain't you heard about the strike? And I thought, oh my gosh, Ed, you teach people to communicate and you done messed up twice in the same 5 minutes. But she said, my business is terrific. And I said, what? I said, what kind of business you in, lady? She said, I'm in the real estate business. I said, the real estate business? I said, how do you explain it? She said, let me tell you something, Mr. Foreman. She said, these young folks that work for Phelps, Dodge, and Kennecott, believe in those two strong corporations. She said they believe in the American free enterprise system. She said most of them don't want to be off on strike anyhow. And they recognize that very shortly they're going to be going back to work, and when they do, they're going to be earning increased fringe benefit. And she said a lot of those young couples are taking advantage of this time off for the husband and wife to shop together for the dream home of their choice. She said, will you believe that just yesterday, with one young couple, I spent 2 hours showing them one house, that they examined every square inch of that house from the attic down to the basement and bought it? She said, Mr. Foreman, I've sold more houses in the last 6 weeks than I'd sold in the previous 6 months. And she said, I'll tell you something else. She said, if this strike will just continue for 4 more weeks, she said, I'll get rich. I won't have to work for a year. So help me God, that same conversation took place at the same head table, the same night, in the same community. Let me ask you something. What was the difference between these two people? What was it? It was their attitude, exactly. It wasn't what they were selling. It wasn't where they lived. It wasn't it was their individual personal. And look at it this way. They're both in the same business, in the same community. They both belong to the multiple listing service. You know what that means? They had identically the same houses, sell the same prospects. One's getting rich and the other's going broke, simply because of the way they saw the situation. Now that's what I'm saying to you, is that when you get excited about what you have to help other people enjoy a greater peace of mind and a greater excitement out of life, when you recognize that what you have is what they need and you're the person they need to get it from, then you're getting the right attitude and you're going to make things happen. And that's what this whole conference has impressed me with, is the good, wholesome, positive, excited attitude that you have. Sometimes people say something to me about this little bumblebee tie tack that I wear. This little bumblebee is the emblem of the company that I represent, Executive Development Systems of Dallas. You know, according to recognized aeronautical facts, because of the size and weight of his body, in proportion to his little bitty wingspan area, the bumblebee cannot fly. But the bumblebee doesn't know that. And so he goes ahead and flies anyhow. Now what we do is we teach people who think they're not supposed to be happy and healthy and successful by developing the right, proper mental attitude and coupling that with specific identifiable purpose in their life, they can have, be, or do what they want to. We conduct a 3-day executive development training program in the hill country of Texas at a little place called Kerrville, Texas. Every other weekend we have people from throughout the United States, 17 foreign countries, 25 of the Fortune 500 companies who are represented in that class. They come in for 3 days and nights. We talk about how to have one good, happy, enjoyable, productive, successful day, one day at a time. And people say to me, you mean you spend 3 days on how to have one good day? That's right, because if you can learn the formula to have one good, happy, enjoyable, productive, successful day, and you do that 7 days in a row, what have you had? You've had a good, that's not too hard a question, is it? You've had a good week. Now, if you do that 52 times in a row, what have you had? You've had a good year. You notice the questions get harder as I go along, and I'm going to be testing. That's right, you've had a good year. Now, you do that over and over and over and over, you have a happy, enjoyable, successful life. But by actual survey, the majority of the people have one uptight, frustrating, by golly, get out there and deal with those dummies today type day. And they do it 7 days in a row, and they say, boy, it's been a rough week. Then they do that 52 times in a row, and they say, boy, life is dull and boring. We find that life is dull and boring primarily to dull, boring people. Life is exciting and enjoyable and successful to exciting, enjoyable, successful people.